wouldn't
Okay.
be a little later.
Okay.
And city clerk?
Okay, we had a motion from Councilwoman Keys. It was seconded by Mayor Bieneme, and I'm assuming that this motion is to approve the resolution as amended.
As amended.
Yeah.
And would anyone wishes to record or no?
With the mayor, you know what you're gonna change.
We already know, yeah, it's on the
Okay.
record.
It's read into the record.
I read that
Okay.
into the record. So it's gonna be, you guys are voting on this as amended. Motion made by Councilwoman Keys, seconded by Mayor Bieneme.
Roll
And-
call.
You want a roll call? Mayor Bieneme,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. That was tab I. Okay, tab J. Proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor's Acting Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to execute a settlement agreement in the litigation
Which one
matter.
was removed? That's not the item that was
No.
Oh.
This
I
was
wanna
tab
make
G that was removed.
Okay.
And I'm going to start over. Tab J. Proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor's Acting Mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to execute a settlement agreement in the litigation matter of Coastland Construction, Inc. versus City of North Miami, case number 13-12127CA01, upon the execution of a general release discharging the City of North Miami, its officers, agents, and servants against any and all claims and demands in connection with this action, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Public hearing is open on tab G.
Richard Anise, 13030 Northeast 10th Avenue. We're dealing with a lot of minuscule percentages here tonight, I think. If I'm not mistaken, are we looking to settle $50,000 on the people that already made $3 million on a contract? And because they're saying
55.
that we delayed the contract?
55.
55, that's same minuscule percentage of three. I mean, aren't there provisions in place for delays? If they delayed, we would be getting back money. I don't understand how we're looking to give them another $55,000 when they already made $3 million. I mean, were we totally, if we were really negligent in delaying this getting done and causing them any kind of hardship, they sure would be suing us for more than $55,000 on a $3 million contract. It's a nuisance, but I don't want to see us throw away. We could use $55,000 a lot better on some other items. And when you closed Ben Franklin Park years ago, we were only losing $10,000 a year, and you had many people coming in from other parts of the county that were playing at Ben Franklin Park. 13 years ago, you shut it down, and because it was costing us $10,000 a year. I'm just reverting back to the park situation. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open on tab J.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. Just a question of curiosity. Evidently, our city staff disputes the potential overpayment and was ready to litigate that, and now we may be going into a settlement. Just curious, what happens to this company going forward? Will the city still do business with this company now that there's sort of a breach of faith? Are we in any way committed to that? Are there alternatives to using a company providing this service? And if so, I think if we do yield to this, to their pressure, and it is a small percentage in respect to the entire project, which I think they were probably pretty lucky to get in the first place, should be fortunate to get in the first place, I should say. Nothing against the company, but that was a nice contract. This is a minor amount. It's a way of coercion, I think, for the city. It's this type of measure, and if that's the case, I think it should be put in perspective going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing still open on tab J. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear motion?
Motion to approve?
She seconded.
You guys gotta speak up. I heard a motion to approve. Was that a
Yeah.
motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Seconded by Councilwoman Still.
I didn't hear Sterry's
She
second.
said.
I have to hear her, Mayor. Can you?
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So, Mayor, you gonna second it?
That's fine.
Okay, the mayor seconded. You want a roll call vote, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Galvin?
No.
Councilwoman Keys?
Yes.
Mayor Biedemeyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril?
Yes.
Item passes 3-1, and that's tab J. Tab K, proposed ordinance of the Vice Mayor's acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, deleting all references to the prohibition and violation of the selling, purchasing, acquiring, or maintaining pit bulls within the borders of the City of North Miami, and thereby repealing Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Animal Control at Article 2 entitled Dog Control, specifically at Section 4-27 entitled Pit Bulls, Dogs, Prohibited, providing for, repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Move approval.
Seconded. Roll call.
Public hearing.
Public hearing is open. Second reading on tab K. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is now closed.
Mayor Biedemeyer,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Tab L, proposed ordinance of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, relocating Article 5 entitled Burglar Alarms from Chapter 12 of the Code of Ordinances to Chapter 13 entitled Offenses, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and for an effective date. And that is tab L.
Move approval.
Second. And public hearing is open on tab L. Public hearing is now closed. Any questions? Still? No. Roll call, please.
For the record, motion was made by Councilman Galvin. It was seconded by Councilwoman Keys. Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril, Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Mayor Biedemeyer.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0, and that was tab L. Tab M, proposed ordinance of the Vice Mayor's acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 5 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Building Standards and Regulations to include provisions for maintenance of property, landscaping, walls, fence, and exterior property areas, and providing for the relocation of Article 7 entitled Abandoned Real Property Registration to Chapter 12 of the Code of Ordinances, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Move approval.
Second?
Public hearing is open. Public hearing is now closed. Roll call, please.
Motion was made by Councilman Galvin, seconded by Councilwoman Keys. Mayor Biedemeyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes, with a thank you to our attorney for working on this for the past year. Thank you.
Councilwoman Steril,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Tab N is a Nancy. Proposed ordinance of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, amending Chapter 29 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Land Development Regulations by amending Article 3, Division 2 entitled General Development Review Procedures, specifically at Section 3-210 entitled Certificate of Reoccupancy requiring a certificate of reoccupancy each time there is a transfer of title of real property to ensure compliance with the zoning district requirements set forth in the land development regulations, and allowing for the issuance of conditional certificates of reoccupancy where life safety violations exist, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Since
Move
it's,
approval.
oh,
That was case.
second. Public hearing is open on tab N. Public hearing is open on tab N. Public hearing is now closed. Is there any question?
Yes. Actually, I don't have a question yet, but I would like to have some explanation from either the city attorney or the city manager regarding this item. Or whomever
Sure.
the maker of the.
I will, brief background, being this is my line of work, doing real estate closings, for probably the past 20 years or so. The city of North Miami has an ordinance that when you purchase a residential piece of property, the city goes in and makes sure the zoning is correct. If you're buying a house, it's a single-family house. If you're buying a duplex, there should only be 2 families living there. If you're buying a 20-unit apartment building, there should only be 20 apartment buildings. Several years ago, the council that you sat on changed the ordinance and added some language regarding life safety issues, and this was due to a lot of foreclosures. A lot of properties were totally trashed, and we had no way of, just regulating that, and the banks were selling them, and the wires were torn out, the air conditioners were torn out. So you put some more teeth in this, but so many of the residents cannot sell their homes anymore. The realtors are having a tremendous problem. It's a burden on the city because people are not able to sell their homes. Further, what's happened is our building department is going in, doing these inspections, and now they get to look for life safety issues if they think they exist, which could be work done without a permit, closing in rooms, changing sinks. And the problem is our city is not equipped to do these kinds of inspections. When someone buys a home, they should go and get their own professional inspector. If our city goes in and now we miss a life safety issue, then we become liable because the person who bought it, and when they become electrocuted or there's some kind of problem, they can come back to the city and say, you inspected our house, you said it was safe. So we are not in the inspection business, and that's why I've tried to bring this code, this ordinance, back to the original simple ordinance. It's strictly a zoning issue. And further, there's only about 5 cities in Dade County that even have this kind of inspection. None of them have any life safety issues. They're really only zoning issues, just to make sure you don't have multiple families living in a single family. You don't have double kitchens in a condo. And that's the purpose and background. And it's been really important to people. That's why I sponsored it. And more questions, ask our attorney.
Answer the question.
No, I didn't. What? Okay, it sounds very simple. Referring to single-family home, is this ordinance is only dealing with single-family homes, or is it multi condos or duplexes?
Single family, duplex, triplex.
Okay, here's where I have.
Only.
Only, yes.
No, it goes to multi,
Well, it says,
commercial buildings. I mean, not commercial. If you have a 10-unit building, you
right.
can only have 10 units. What's happened is there'll be someone will take one of the apartments and make it into 2 apartments. So it's zoned, what's been licensed for 10 units, it's on the tax rolls as 10 units, but you go in and there's really 11 units. So the reoccupancy inspector will come back and say, you've got 11 units, you need to turn one of those units back, one of the 2 units back into 1.
But now they're not allowed to do that.
Oh, yeah, it's zoning, it's
No,
just
I'm
for the
talking
number of
about-
units.
Right now, if we pass this resolution,
You still can only have the amount of units
Unit.
that it was built for.
Correct.
okay.
And C actually, tab B is single family, duplex, triplex. C, apartment complexes, and D, certificate of reoccupancy for the whole, I mentioned above.
Here's my concern.
That's when you, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I never see that in a city, specifically here in the city of North Miami, that we have code in place or an ordinance or in place to protect the people, and then now we make it more easier for the landlord. It's kind of very confusing to me. What I'm hearing, maybe I don't understand the verbiage in there. What I'm hearing is that the ordinance that we have, if the single family, I understand if you have your personal home, if the AC doesn't work, that's up to the buyer to find out what's going on to fix it. But my concern is more with the commercial, the duplexes, the condos.
Right.
So you telling me that if I have if I am a landlord, I had a duplex, and I add another apartment in there, and I'm willing to sell it. So the city has nothing to say, even if it's now become like a quadruplex, or we have nothing to do with it. That's not what that addressing. Okay, great. My other question is that I know a couple of months ago in Councilwoman Kaoki's district, when the building actually caved in onto those people, we were so animated about how we have buildings that's not up to code, people that not safe in there, elevator was not working, the bathroom doesn't work. So we came here, we brought a bunch of tenants here, we sympathize with them, we make our code, we tighten our codes to make sure that we're protecting them. But I'm feeling that, okay, it's gone, it's over. Right now we're making it like more loose. That's what I'm feeling. So how do we protect our residents?
No, now it's about selling, right?
But selling, it's
Good. No, now it's when,
The problem is if you have a 10-unit apartment building, it is protecting the people because they're not allowed to cut large units into smaller units. We have language in this ordinance that if there are existing violations on the building, you cannot get your certificate of reoccupancy, but you can get a conditional, and that allows someone to buy it and fix it up and get their certificate of reoccupancy after violations are taken care of. What's happening is people aren't being able to sell their units because we are going in and saying,
Okay.
you have some life safety issues. So no, we're not protecting, but for $350, our city should not be going in and inspecting a 10-unit apartment building. That's not our job.
so what is it
And
we
stop
describe?
with
What is
that.
the definition of life safety issues?
We're
in our
not,
code.
we've
We're not
taken that
okay.
out because it's not up to us to determine that.
Can I
Anything that is in violation of the building
I,
code.
what is it?
Anything that is in violation of the building code, life safety issues, electrical wiring, exposed structural damage, those are life safety issues. You just described where the roof collapsed, that's a life safety issue because of structural issues. All those are considered life safety, non-compliant with the existing building code.
Okay, so I'm trying to, it's not like I'm against it or for, but I'm trying to understand what is it that we're voting on tonight. So the way that the code written right now, if a homeowner, or let's go with the commercial, wants to sell a building, so they have to come to the city to get reoccupancy or
Occupancy
Certificate.
Okay, so the city actually go to that apartment building and verify it, for lack of better terminology,
Right.
and then certify it if it's up to code.
Correct, up to code. But the city, they will also inspect it for other things that are other than life
Yeah.
safety.
Okay, so what is the other than?
If there were alterations done to the structure, if there's an existing one-bedroom apartment and you go in there as the inspector and you see 2 bedrooms, there has been alterations to the structure, the permitted structure, that's a violation. Kitchen or an addition to the kitchen to a unit that had no kitchen.
So what I'm hearing is that if someone has like a 10 apartment building and it can convert it to a 20 apartment building, this code right now we're telling me that the city should go in there and close your eyes and said, don't worry about it, I have nothing to do with it.
No.
No, it's not saying that. It's
No, it's
not
not.
saying
So
that.
what is it to say? I'm just trying, it's
What-
so vague in here, I'm not even sure what I'm voting on. What is it that I'm giving up?
We're bringing it back to the original ordinance.
I know that's your passion, but I'm
Okay.
trying to be passionate
Well,
about it too. But
The,
let me
the
hear
thing
it.
is, the city cannot take it upon themselves to determine every life safety issue. If work is done, we can't know. If someone doesn't pull a permit, it's not up to these inspectors to go in and determine whether work has been done.
Councilwoman.
It's just not something,
I
it's a liability to the
I
city.
understand your passion,
And
that's,
no other city does it.
that's your line of
Okay.
work, and I respect that. I'm trying to be as passionate as you are by listening from, because as the city attorney knows that I always refer to her when it comes to my legal matters and says that that was her recommendation, that's why I vote on it. And my city manager, I would always says, you recommended to me, you're the one that's dealing with them every day. I know nothing about building and zoning, and that's your expertise, or your employees are the expertise. So I am relying on your recommendation to me how to go about. I'm not even a realtor. So that's why I'm asking those questions. My purposes for asking those questions is to make sure that when I'm not even worried about the single family.
Right.
Because I know single family is probably like a 2, 3, 4 bedroom, the most, especially in my district. So it should be able to take care of itself. But my real concern is the commercial. To know exactly what is it that I'm going to vote on. If I decided to vote yes, what is it that the city is giving up to? What is it?
So, for example, if there are violations.
Not if they, okay, you're
If
telling
there-
me what's in there.
No, I'm going to give you you said what's the city giving up?
Okay, yeah.
Explain to you what
All
we're
right,
giving up.
thank
So if this passes and one of our inspectors go out as someone is selling a condo or a house, and this inspector goes and says that, oh, there looks like there was a new kitchen put in, or it looks like you put in windows, but there's no permit for that. The officer cannot prevent a certificate of reoccupancy from being issued for that type of violation.
That's not life safety.
It's not a life safety.
No, it's another, I had a kitchen in my house or a bathroom, another bathroom.
Well, I mean, so
So
there
why are
are,
you referring to
well,
life safety?
so we're not gonna decide what life safety, life safety is gonna be really what the building official,
official
based
makes
on
that
the building
determination.
code
Yeah, but
of
we're
life safety.
saying that if including life safety issues that we not dealing with it, or except as of life safety.
If there are now, so that's the example I just gave you, right? Windows that were done without a permit. I think you can agree that that's not a life safety issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if there are life safety issues, for example, there's electrical wires coming out of the wall.
Correct.
That's a life safety issue. If that's the case, then we can issue a conditional certificate of reoccupancy. What is a conditional certificate of reoccupancy?
Correct.
A conditional certificate of reoccupancy is where the person will say, I'm going to put down a $5,000 deposit, and
You talking about the seller,
the
buyer.
the purchaser
Uh-huh.
is going to put down a deposit, and they're going to make the repairs. And once the repairs are done, then the city says, okay, I'm going to give you a certificate of reoccupancy
Based on a reinspection.
based on the
Is it
reinspection
after
that
the closing
everything's
or
done.
before?
After the closing.
No.
Yeah.
This is before the
Yeah.
closing.
After the closing.
No.
So who
You're
do we
gonna-
give the certificates of whatever to? The purchaser or the seller?
The seller's
buyer.
gonna come in and say, I want to transfer this property. I want to sell this property. And they're going to ask for, and the city's going to say, well, before you can do that, you need a certificate of reoccupancy. We're going to inspect it. No, it fails. So now you have to get a conditional certificate of reoccupancy before the transaction can go through.
I'm going to disagree with that because because I've done a lot of closings, the conditional reoccupancy certificate is given so you can close. 5,000 is given to the city. The buyer does get to go ahead and close on it because the seller, quite often, whether it's a home or a duplex, the seller is selling it. They may not want to fix it, or they may not have the money to fix it because they haven't sold it with the money. So the buyer agrees, or money is held in escrow and held from it. So the transaction does close,
We
but
don't want the violation to stop
Well,
the sale.
right.
Well,
So
but
we-
the practice is that, which is why a lot of times your issue is that the sales are being held up.
Yeah,
So that's the current practice is that the sales are being held up because of the
well, they're
certificate
going
of
in and
reoccupancy.
finding all types of different
Correct.
things,
yeah.
and it's very subjective. There's not like a whole test, and they're holding up people, and they're holding up sellers from being able to sell their homes, and we're holding up buyers who have the money, want to go in and fix up our properties, and we're at a standstill because they're not agreeing. But we
If I
do
understand,
close
the
we
only
do
thing-
close with a conditional, and that's recorded, and until the people fix up the property, they don't get the final certificate of reoccupancy.
And it is re-inspected after the work is done.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
So we had a motion from Councilwoman Keys. The second was made by Mayor Bieneme. Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme.
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril.
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys.
Yes.
Tab N passes 4-0. Tab O, discussion regarding the reestablishment of the Code of Enforcement Board.
Discussion, Councilwoman Keys.
Okay. The code board, I'm not sure exactly when, it's been a couple years since the code board was disbanded by the former council. A lot of the citizens that I've spoken to over the past couple years have voiced their concern. They would like to see that brought back to our city. I've asked Mr. McDermott to come in this evening. He was the chairman for many years. I think he would like to say something on it. I would like the citizens to have an opportunity to be heard either by their peers, residents in the city. From what I understand from our city attorney, if you get a violation, you either go to a magistrate. Right now, you go to a magistrate and that's it. A lot of residents would like to be heard by their peers and given that choice. And if I could have Mr. McDermott come up and speak. It's just something I wanted to bring up. I didn't want to bring it in a resolution. I want to see how the council feels about bringing back the board. I'm in favor
Why
of
don't
it.
you-
I second bringing back the board if we don't have to belabor the evening too much longer.
Yeah, or can we have a workshop about it? Before the next council, then we can bring a resolution?
Whatever the pleasure of the board is, I don't know even tonight. I mean, I'd like to hear from Mr. McDermott because I
Okay.
invited him. But I don't know if we are allowed to just vote on it, or since this is I don't know if there's a charter, an ordinance issue, whether we have to have an actual resolution. But I'd like to hear from
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
McDermott.
Okay. Mike McDermott, 840 Northeast 127th Street in North Miami. Indeed, I was on the Code Enforcement Board for many years, became chairman of the Code Enforcement Board. And I can tell you that the Code Enforcement Board serves several purposes. Number one, it provided a true peer situation for a lot of people who didn't want to appear before attorneys as special magistrates, who wanted to meet in the evening hours, separate from the magistrate. People liked having that choice, and many times they would come before us thinking that we as citizens would be not only able to, I think, understand what they were going through, but found on many occasions that the Code Enforcement Board, because they were citizens, because they were longtime residents, most of them, of the city, and knew a lot of the resources in the city, were able to actually help a lot of people who had Code Enforcement Board issues, just not to fine them, just not to
charge them money, but we're actually beyond that, able to recommend to staff items and things that could be done to help the people, and oftentimes would bring in third-party outside resources to help the people of the community resolve their code enforcement issues. So it was really a resource board at many levels. Now, this has nothing to do with the current situation with the magistrates, with the situation with it now being under the police department. It has nothing to do with that. That's all fine and well as it exists. What we're talking about is providing an extra outlet, an extra resource to the people of this community, not only in looking at what they're going through as far as their code enforcement issues, but also providing real help to a lot of people in those very difficult situations. Were we more lenient than the special masters? I think in some respects that we were harder, because we rode the community, we saw what was going on. But I think we struck a true balance of providing an extra resource for the people of this community, as well as providing a resource to help the people of this community. So I think in considering bringing back the Code Enforcement Board, particularly since it's a volunteer board, with appointees from the City Council, I think would be a very valuable thing to consider. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is this something we can vote on this evening, or is this a resolution we would have to direct
And
our attorney to
since the
provide?
discussion, I'm not ready. And why don't we have a workshop? I have several people asking me the same question, but I would like to ask question to the city attorney, to the city manager, and the police chief, and see. Why don't we do a workshop
That's
on
fine.
it and be
Okay,
about that? Bring back the code enforcement board.
I don't know any residents that would be opposed to it. I'm not
Okay,
opposed
if
to
it-
workshop, but
Okay,
I don't think anybody's gonna come to our workshop and say, no, they don't want it.
okay. They're gonna replace the magistrates?
It's up to the council.
It's go, okay.
It wasn't my intention to replace it, but I think it was an alternative to citizens, residents, because the magistrates meet also during business hours. Do we have magistrates in the evening?
Yes.
Do we? Okay. And I think from what you explained, it was a choice. I mean, I'd just like to go back to the way it was. And before we did have magistrates and the code enforcement board, I believe.
Well, she's saying that there was a choice between, previously, there was the choice between AM and PM. The board served during the PM and the magistrate serving during the AM. But currently, there is an AM magistrate and a PM magistrate.
Are we,
I make a motion to direct our city attorney to drop a resolution. I mean, if
okay.
to reinstate the code enforcement board to the way it was previously.
Okay.
With the magistrate, with the choice, as you mentioned.
So are you saying you want AM magistrate and PM
That works. If that's
code
okay.
enforcement board?
It has nothing to do with that. We're talking about board. Why are we talking about
You're
magistrate?
replacing, it sounds like you're
We're
replacing
not
the.
replacing anything. We just said bring it back as we instead the board, but we're not saying about. I know that I'm not saying that.
That's what the councilwoman
That's
is
what you
saying.
explained to me. I'd like to go back to the way it was. I believe before you had magistrates in addition to the board?
So before we had one magistrate during the morning and the board during the evening. Now you have magistrate during the morning and a magistrate during the evening.
That's
What
when
you
the
would like
board
to
will
do is
replace
replace
the magistrate in
in
the
the eve- in
afternoon,
the
in the
evening.
evening, okay.
Yeah, but that's not fair for the morning people. Why can't we be consistent? You know, I don't want to discuss this. And I think what the mayor said, do a workshop. I think everybody will come. They'll give their idea. The chief of police will come, code enforcement, the city manager, the city attorney, and the public, the citizens. Everybody will come and voice their opinion.
And you will be there, and then you will be able to draft a resolution based on that workshop, right?
If it's
How we
the
gonna do
pleasure
it?
of the
I'm
council.
okay with a workshop.
Yeah.
I'm okay with a workshop.
Okay.
Sure.
I have no objection. I would just like to
City
make a
manager
motion.
just programming a workshop with
We'll-
the chief of police, with,
We'll set up the workshop with the
exactly, and we
attorney's
see
office.
exactly.
Who even are our special magistrates now? I don't remember.
So we have
Beatrice Cazot.
Beatrice Cazot serves as the PM
PM.
magistrate, and Christopher Benjamin serves as the morning magistrate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Then you
Let us know the date.
for the workshop.
Yeah.
Make sure
Yes.
everybody's there, then we will know exactly in what direction to go.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you. What do we have next?
Citizens Forum.
Citizens.
Citizen Forum. Citizens Forum is now open.
Good evening again. This is Anushka. I'm here practically about the NoMi, the free shuttle bus that the city of Miami provide to the citizens. And I learned that the red route is going to be cut. It used to run until 8 p.m. Now it is reduced to 2 p.m. And that leaves from 2 to 8 to not to have any free shuttle going all the way to FIU. Now I went and I spoke to the people, and I went both to the school, the high school that's there, and to FIU, and the students, the parents, whomever is there. And I have a total of 108 people who signed to say they're in favor of keeping it running until 8. Now, I find that the people in FIU especially, most of them do not know that most of the people who I got signature from did not know that this free bus existed. So the students couldn't take advantage of something they do not know about. And they say it's because there's a NoMi sign that's there, but they don't know what it is. So they have the needs for it, but they can't use it because they don't know that it's available. And from 2 to 8, now the students, they like if they want to go about to Publix or Target or wherever that they need to go, and they won't be able to freely get a free bus to just go there. And also get the concerns and the needs of the public, because I understand perhaps in the past they didn't come to meetings, and I didn't know if you guys needed our input on this particular issue. So just to come and just say, this is what the people are asking for. And the needs for the NoMi bus is really great in the city, in that even on weekends they're asking, they want to take their children, let's say, to the park. Instead of watching TV on the weekends, they could take their children to the park, to the movies, to a yoga class, to church, or whatever that indeed they may be. The children could actually use the NoMi, instead of taking away, add it for the weekends. And I also have here, the reason why they don't use it as much is because they don't know the routes. The map is it's not so clear, or it's not in places at the bus stop they could really know where the different buses goes. And you have the city of citizens at Saint-Souci. They voice their opinion that they want to go shopping. And if it ends at 2, then you have 2 to 8. If they want to go shopping, go to the supermarket for a moment, or so forth. Some of them barely can leave their apartment and come downstairs to wait for the bus, much less walking to go get their groceries. And I've paid attention. I've seen it myself, how the needs are great for them. There's this particular gentleman, his feet is like, each one is like this size. He's barely able to move about. And sometimes he doesn't feel well enough to get up early, to go to shopping, and then if the thing cuts before then, he doesn't have the money to take a taxi or so forth. I have a list here of more things that they ask about. And they want to go to laundromats, especially on the weekend. There's
Thank-
all those things that they
Thank you.
ask.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so if you do need all the signatures and their phone numbers, I will provide. I'll be more than happy to write
Okay.
here.
You're a great fan of NoMi. I think she
Thank
should
you.
volunteer with the NoMis. At least she can help us, circulate create a movement, a NoMi movement.
Absolutely, I'm here to serve you guys.
Yeah, so you'll
So-
see with the chief of staff is right in the back. So you should be contacting Natasha. She's with the red shirt in the back. So
Okay,
you talk to
super.
her later.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Citizens Forum.
I know everybody's tired. Good afternoon. My name is Judy Brown. I live at 1100 Northwest 120 Terrace. And I have a concern, and I did speak with my council person, but I just want to put it out there. On 11th Avenue, my council woman has worked diligently and has provided traffic circles for the Sunkist Grove community. But on 11th Avenue, we did not get a traffic circle. So at 131st Street to Tom Sasso Park, it's a speedway. It's just like Daytona 500. And I am asking that of that $700,000 money that was allocated for capital improvement, that you really would consider putting, if you can't do a traffic circle, then maybe some of those humps along 11th Avenue, just to slow down the traffic, because we do have a lot of children in that area. Ben Franklin now is a K through 8 center. So, and there are a lot of kids in the neighborhood that actually walk, backwards and forth to school. And since I have retired, I can tell you that the traffic is really, they race up and down 11th Avenue during the day. So I'm here asking that do consider putting humps on 11th Avenue to cut down that speedway. Thank you.
11
you.
and 1.
From 135th Street on 11th Avenue, 131st Street, that's right where the school runs, going to Tom Sasso Pool. So I guess that's down the 127th or 125th.
111 between 135 and 131.
Say again now.
That's the same area that we were working.
That's the same. It's from
135 to 119.
The entire,
Avenue.
okay.
yes.
From 119 to 135th Street.
Is that
Well-
a city street?
It's 11th Avenue. I don't know
Yeah.
where 119 come in. I live on 11th Avenue.
We already
Okay,
in talking. As I talked to you last night, I talked to
Right.
the city manager, and all the constituents already addressed
We
it
have
to
the
me, and
locations.
we are working on it as well.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
May I
Yeah.
echo that, Councilwoman? I also got an email from somebody in the Councilwoman's district. I know I shared it with Natasha, et cetera, but it's on the same topic about how we've put circles and bumps and other places that are causing more traffic on this woman's street. And if memory serves, she was like 120th.
Yeah,
and
it's
Northwest.
120th and 16th Avenue. The
Yeah.
councilwoman and I
Yeah.
did meet at that location. We are looking at putting in a stop sign to reduce the speeding on the street and 2 speed tables or speed humps along that strip.
But
Mine-
one other thing that I'm working very hard with the city manager to share with the people. We cannot, as city, wake up in the morning and say that we're gonna put a circle right there or we're gonna put a speed bump there.
Correct.
There's a process. We have to go through Miami-Dade County.
Correct.
We have to work with the fire department. So unfortunately, it's a long process, but again, it's for our safety. And where you're talking about, it's by Sunkist.
16th and 120th.
In 120th,
That's the location that we had the
it's too
complaint.
close to the
Right.
intersection. You cannot have a
Exactly. You
circle.
cannot put the circle,
but
but
we're
we could put
working
a
on
speed hump a little further east.
But we put that location in the study that's coming. That's
Right,
coming.
and
yeah.
keep in mind too, a traffic study on the closure of that area on the west side from 441 or 2nd Avenue to 17th Avenue was completed. all the street closures were already implemented. All the traffic calming devices were already implemented.
My suggestion was going to be, to finish that sentence, to just sort of think big picture for the whole area, because remember, you've got street closures on Northwest 17th, street closures on 119th. Now you've got bumps and humps and circles, and to just sort of think, okay, if we do it, if we do A, B, and C, what will be the effects over here? Just
Yes.
think about that, because I think in well-intentioned, we've been putting in traffic calming measures that just sort of redirect traffic to another area,
Right.
and we just
Yes.
in that, because that's a unique area. It's so landlocked. It's a square, and it's got traffic calming, street closures on 2/3 of it. So that would just be my suggestion to be.
Sure.
big
And,
picture.
and what you're talking about, Councilman, it's the traffic study. It was completed, and there's still some locations that I'm working with the councilwoman on as well.
Okay, thank you. And citizens forum still open.
William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. If you allow me, I'd like to continue the theme that I started earlier with the MoCA Museum, and that is leaving things to feel that they're in good hands, but in fact they may not be, to give things not the attention that they deserve and assume that they are in the best of directions, best course. And I'm going to apply that to Biscayne Landing this evening, a topic that hasn't been brought up in a long time. And it has not been, partly because we've been in recess and partly because there have not been presentations. I think there's a tendency to feel that maybe nothing is happening with it, nothing is going on. In fact, even though our staff and our city have, everybody before me, everybody behind me, have many, many projects to be concerned with, many, many issues, they have a small army of people that are 100% dedicated to achieving their goals and their desires. And their goals and desires, to put it bluntly, are probably getting the most income with the least amount of effort as quick as possible. I do not hold that against them, and that's the animal that it is that we have to deal with. We've spent a great deal of time on contaminants in the soil, and that was our sole focus for a while, for at least 6 months it seems. And we may have won that battle, we may not have won that battle. Let's see. My concern is not with the toxicity, the contaminants of the soil. Mine is with the potential toxicity of everything above the soil. For months, and actually more than a year now, I've been concerned with how this is going to lay out. And I see problem after problem and shortcomings on the part of the developers that do everything they can to take advantage of our situation or naivety. We have a contract in place that may be textually correct and helpful, but unfortunately it left out any graphic component. So therefore, though we know what we can put there and how much of it we can put there, we have no idea where or how or why those things are and how they're positioned. And that was completely neglected. And since then, it's been somewhat abused. So I'm concerned about the pollutants of quality of life. And those are going to last much longer than a couple pollutants in the ground. That could last for generations, far beyond everyone's tenure here, probably beyond our lifespans, that these pollutants will stay with this property. And I know we have a contract, and we can't dictate to them what it is that we would like to see. But I really think we can engage, we can entice, and we can encourage them to do better, to do something that makes sense in the long run, not just for us and the citizens, but also for them economically. The one thing I don't think we should continue doing is appeasing them. I don't think we should keep on rolling over every opportunity and saying that's good enough and this is going to be wonderful. Because if you haven't learned by now, that's not Walt Disney presenting, and it's not turning out to be the Magic Kingdom like everybody thought it was going to be. And it's nowhere near that. And who am I to say that their plan is this? But I'm talking about objective issues. I'm talking about circulation when we don't have the ability to, when everything is congregated into a single spine, both the residential and the commercial, we have a great risk of failing the commercial side and the residential side because they're not segregated and they don't really work cohesively together. If we have housing that continues to look into one apartment into another and starts to look onto parking decks and Just like the Oaks, you have to look at another parking deck. Well, we're not doing anything to preserve the value of those properties in the future. And when this thing does run into problems, that will be a North Miami burden.
Thank you.
And there are many other things, a whole list of things. I hope we have the time to present that in a future date, because there are 25 points of negotiation that could be discussed with them to benefit both the city and the developers, and I'd hope you'll give that consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Citizens Forum.
Good evening, Mayor Council.
Yes.
My name's Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125th Street in Sunkist Grove. I have a concern about a house, 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue. It appears it was boarded up. Someone has removed some of the boards, and it appears it's someone's living there. It needs to be an investigation made as to what's going on, and to make the neighborhood safe.
Okay.
That's at 12505 Northwest 11th Avenue, right across from Sasso Pool.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much. What happened? Okay. And the city manager said code enforcement is looking at it. And Chief,
We are.
is coming. Okay, code enforcement is working on it. Citizens Forum still open. Citizen Forum still open. Citizen Forum is now closed. Council reports. Councilwoman Keys.
Thank you. Tomorrow night is the beginning of the Jewish New Year, and I'd like to wish everybody Shana Tova. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Shana Tova, and remember everybody that the MoCA opens its new exhibit this coming Thursday. It's open to North Miami residents for free, so please come on out. It's 7 o'clock. It is an exciting rebirth of the North Miami Museum of Contemporary Art. Those who predicted that the museum was dead, their predictions were as far off as those predicting the Dolphins to make the Super Bowl this year. So, but I'll still be at every game. So please come on out and support MoCA in support of our downtown community this Thursday night for the opening of Third Stage. See you there.
I have no reports. City Clerk.
So brief, just the election department wanted me to again inform the North Miami residents that we do in fact have a general mayoral election dated for November 4th, 2014. The Miami-Dade Department of Election wants you guys to all know these important dates. You must be a registered voter by October 6th if you intend to vote on the November 4th, 2014 election ballot. Early voting will begin October 20th through November 2nd. And the early voting sites, one is the City of North Miami Public Library, and there's roughly 17 more slots in Miami-Dade County. The deadline to register for an absentee ballot is on October 29th, 2014. And again, election day is November 4th, 2014. Thank you, Mayor. That'll be it.
City Attorney.
None, thank you.
None.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Thank you. Good night, everyone.